Alright guys, so I just want to give you guys a quick little comparison. My thoughts on the differences and similarities between the MT-09 and MT-07. I haven't ridden the MT-09 that much. Only the day that I bought it and yesterday when I rode to and from work, and today, which I recorded a little walk around a little earlier. So, a couple of similarities. Both bikes are very lightweight. Sitting position is very similar. The MT-09 for some reason feels a little bit more upright. I had a 2020 model MT-07. The foot pegs are on about the same position, which, my opinion, it is comfortable, but it kind of sucks because I'm short. So whenever I try to put my feet down, the foot pegs are right under me. So I gotta put my feet either forward or back a little bit. And it was the same on the MT-07. It was the same deal. But overall, it's a very comfortable bike. You sit more upright on this, a little bit higher on this bike compared to the MT-07. Power-wise, it's kind of an interesting thing because I can feel that this has a lot more power on tap. So if I twist the throttle a little bit, it'll just go. But it doesn't feel twitchy like the MT-07. Like the MT-07 has enough power that if you twist the throttle at low speeds like this, it'll go, but it doesn't feel twitchy. And I think the reason for that is that the engine braking on this bike, it is good, but it's not as strong as the MT-07. So, and this is also a triple cylinder. So it feels a lot smoother than the MT-07 with a lot more power. And I mean like a lot. The power on this is way more linear. So at any gear, if you hit the throttle, it'll go. And it is very linear, very smooth. But also one thing to note is that this bike here has two brother exhausts and an ECU flash. So I don't know if the standard MT-09 rides the same. But yeah, the power on this bike is very linear at any gear. So it is pretty awesome to ride, very smooth. And suspension on this bike feels better than the MT-07. It absorbs the bumps a lot better. For some reason, I think this bike might be a little bit longer than the MT-07, so it's way more stable. I'm not sure on that. I don't know the numbers, but it feels way more stable getting into turns at higher speeds. It feels way more, I feel way more confident than the MT-07. Okay, I mean the MT-07 was fine, but this, I don't know, it's probably the tires might be wider too, but getting into turns at higher speeds feel way more stable. Oh my god, the bumps on this road are awful. And a quick shifter, oh my god, I love it. Downshifting on this is so cool. That guy gonna turn? So one thing about the MT-07 that is a little bit better than this bike is that low speed turns and maneuvering. So the MT-07 maneuverability is way better than this bike at low speeds. And not way better, it's just it is just how can I say it? Like it is lighter, so like maneuvering it feels lighter, like throwing it to the sides compared to this bike. But this bike is not bad. I mean, it's kind of a trade-off, right? So you trade that low speed maneuverability for more power and more stability, and I would trade that any day. So I would take this bike any day over the MT-07, honestly, because of the way that it rides. It's a more well-rounded motorcycle. The MT-07 is more of an in-town ride, but it's not very smooth at low speeds. And the power on this is pretty sick. The way that it rides, it's just so linear and so strong. Okay, so this bike at freeway speeds, it feels a lot more stable than the MT-07. It's a huge difference. Like, I'm not even gonna say that it's close. It's literally day and night. I thought the difference was not gonna be this big because this bike is not that much heavier than the MT-07. But honestly, the way that this bike rides compared to the MT-07 on the freeway, it's a huge difference. Seating position on this bike being a little bit higher, it's a little more difficult for me to put my foot down. On my first ride video, you see that I almost dropped the bike on my first stop because the brake is a little bit stronger too, so it was not my smoothest stop. The wind protection with this little screen is way better than the one that I had on the MT-07. Honestly, this bike on the freeway, if you're doing 80 miles per hour, it doesn't even feel like you're doing 80 miles per hour. And even when it's windy, it is a lot smoother and stable than the MT-07. Oh man. So it is just overall a much more upgraded motorcycle than the MT-07. The one thing that I would say the MT-07 is better than this bike for is like low speeds maneuverability, because because the way that this bike rides, it feels a little bit heavier to maneuver it at slow speeds. But as I mentioned, it's a give and take, right? You give that slow speed maneuverability for more stability and more power, which in my opinion that's better. MT-07 will be a more fun bike if you're trying to just have a motorcycle to ride in town to be a hooligan, pop wheelies and stuff, because it's so lightweight and so easy to flick around. As I mentioned before, that motorcycle to me doesn't feel like a proper motorcycle. It's more like an overpowered bicycle because of how lightweight and nimble it is. I'm still trying to get used to the clutch on this thing. The clutch is very light, but it's very far out. I bought some adjustable levers that are coming in the mail. Should be arriving by Friday. I didn't think I would like the quick shifter this much. It is great, but I'm afraid of using it so much and just relying on it. But for downshift, it's so smooth. I thought, you know, a quick shifter for downshifting would not be this fun, because it's fun to try to do the rev match and all. But with this bike, I really just use a quick shifter for downshift because it's so smooth. For upshift, it works well, but it works better when you're revving it up like this. Like if you're going up speed and you get past like 4,000 RPMs, then it works better. But if you're at a stable speed like this, if I upshift now, it's not gonna feel very smooth. Oh, it actually was. You can't let go of the throttle any bit if you're upshifting with a quick shifter. But overall, very nice motorcycle, very stable. It feels more of a grown up motorcycle. And you guys will see my first ride video soon. I'll be posting that after this video. And after I put more miles on this motorcycle, then I'll give you guys a better idea of what I think of the bike and what I like and don't like. So far I'm liking pretty much everything. The only thing that it's not that I don't like, is just that it's not as flickable as the MT-07 at slow speeds, but it's still good enough for you to do lane splitting and riding just fine. But that's a trade-off, as I mentioned. So I'll keep you guys posted. Hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.